They call it the Golden Gate, but for nearly half a millennium it has been nothing but silence and stone. Sealed, immovable, like a secret buried in the eastern walls of Jerusalem. Why does a gate built to be opened remain locked for nearly 500 years? The answer lies not only in history but in prophecy, and now something is shifting, something subtle, yet carrying the weight of centuries. What was once an urban legend whispered among archaeologists and rabbis is turning into a warning. Because what is opening is not just a door, it is a sign. At the heart of the old city, facing the Mount of Olives, the Golden Gate stands with a strange majesty. Also known as the Eastern Gate or Shar Harachamim, the Gate of Mercy, it welcomes no visitors, leads to no traffic, and doesn't even creak in the wind. It is sealed brick upon brick, as if the city itself breathes cautiously in its presence. Most people pass through Jerusalem without giving it a second glance. But those who watch for signs know that its stillness speaks more eloquently than any speech. For Jews, this is the gate through which the Messiah will one day enter. For Christians, it is the same gate through which Jesus passed on his triumphant path, riding a donkey as prophesied by Zechariah. That entry marked the beginning of his final week, the start of redemption. But since then, something has changed. Something was sealed. In 1541, the Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent ordered the gate sealed, not with ceremony but with stone. He was not a prophet, but perhaps he feared prophecies. Perhaps he knew that this passage meant something greater than the city itself, or perhaps, in trying to prevent the Messiah from entering, he unwittingly cooperated with the divine plan. As if sealing the gate weren't enough, he ordered a Muslim cemetery built right in front of it. The logic was theological. According to Jewish tradition, a priest cannot defile himself by passing through graves. If the Messiah were a descendant of David with priestly duties, the cemetery would block his arrival. But what men forget is that God does not bow to human strategies. And prophecy is not undone by bricks. The gate stood firm, unshaken, enduring empires, wars, occupations, and treaties. In 1917, Ottoman leaders decided it was time to destroy the gate entirely. But on the very day they planned to carry out the demolition, the British took Jerusalem without resistance. The order vanished like smoke. In 1967, during the Six-Day War, Jerusalem returned to Israeli control. There was then the freedom and military power to reopen the gate. But a respected rabbi warned, only the Messiah can open this gate, and the soldiers lowered their tools, not out of fear, but out of reverence. The Golden Gate somehow survived all these attempts, untouched, sealed. But in 2019, something happened. Without fanfare, without headlines, images surfaced, photos and videos showing that the inner chamber of the gate had been opened. People were inside, praying. They were not political leaders or generals. They were believers. Their feet trod ground that had not seen light for centuries, and what was once silence became a murmur, a whisper in the heart of the holy city, a whisper that says, something is approaching. The authorities offered no clear explanations. Some spoke of maintenance, others of restoration. But for those who track God's movements through history, this does not seem like chance. The inner opening may be the first step of something greater. After all, according to Ezekiel 44:2, the gate was to remain closed because the Lord, the God of Israel, had passed through it. This changes everything. It means the sealing was not just a political strategy, but a sacred act, a divine seal. If Jesus passed through this gate 2,000 years ago, fulfilling Zechariah's prophecy, then its reopening will mark his return. And if the gate is opening from within, even discreetly, it is because time is moving. The prophetic clock, still for centuries, may have taken its first step. This is not about sensationalism. It is about vigilance. Jesus did not promise dates. He promised signs. And amid wars, earthquakes, spiritual divisions, and a world increasingly descending into chaos, the partial reopening of an ancient gate may be more significant than many realize. There is something about this gate that defies logic. There is a presence there that prevents its desecration. Every human plan to destroy it or open it on their own has been thwarted, as if invisible hands were guarding each stone, as if the heavens themselves were saying, not yet. And now perhaps they are saying, prepare. The Golden Gate does not face New York, nor Rome, nor Mecca. It faces the Mount of Olives, There, Zechariah 14 declares that the feet of the Lord will stand on the day of his return, and when that happens, the mount will split in two. This is not metaphor, it is prophetic geography, a mount and a gate that gaze at each other like mirrors of an eternal time. When Jesus first entered, he was humble. He came riding a donkey. He was welcomed with branches and acclamations, but he knew that moment was only the beginning. He would return, and it would no longer be in silence. It would no longer be in humility. It would be as king. And if he is to pass through this same gate, then the city was built with this moment in mind. Every stone, every foundation, every line of the wall seems to point to this entrance. No other gate carries this spiritual weight. No other place holds this prophetic convergence. The world may mock, it may ignore, it may dismiss it as superstition, but the scriptures do not change, and those with spiritual eyes know God does not act in chaos. He begins with silence. He moves the pieces with precision, and when the moment arrives, everything happens at once. Like birth pains, the signs intensify before the birth. The gate whispers now, but soon it may thunder. Jerusalem has always been a stage for disputes and alliances, but above all, it is the stage for fulfillment. And the Golden Gate is the curtain waiting to be raised for the final scene, a scene that will involve not only Israel, but all nations, because when the King returns, every eye will see him, every knee will bow, and the gate that now breathes in silence will be shaken by the glory of his presence. But why does this gate, among so many, carry such importance? Jerusalem has other entrances, the Zion Gate, the Damascus Gate, the Jaffa Gate, all accessible, open, bustling. But none of them have been sealed for nearly half a millennium. None of them have their closure tied to a biblical verse. None are watched like this one. The Golden Gate is different. It does not merely block a physical passage. It holds a time, a moment. It is the line between what was and what is to come. And what most unsettles those who watch for prophecies is precisely this, the movement. Because this gate should not move, not without the Messiah. And yet, it has moved. Even if internally, even if discreetly, a crack in eternity. A held breath of something that was asleep. What is about to awaken? For many, this still goes unnoticed. Headlines turn to wars, elections, economic crises. Few are looking at a sealed gate on the eastern side of Jerusalem. But those who know the scriptures understand that God has never ceased to use the unlikely to communicate the inevitable. A burning bush, a speaking donkey, a gentle breeze in the desert, a gate opening from within. These are small gestures that precede great changes. The book of Ezekiel does not only speak of the gate's closure, it also describes the return of the Lord's glory to the house of God. A return that, according to the text, will come precisely through the eastern gate. There is no room for metaphors or abstractions. The text is geographically precise. This means that at some point, this sealed passage will be opened not by men, but by him. And perhaps now the world is beginning to see the curtains move on the prophetic stage. On the other side of the wall lies the Muslim cemetery, a sea of graves before the gate like a spiritual barricade, a reminder that there was an attempt to prevent the Messiah. But what are graves before the one who conquered death? If the resurrection is real, and Christians believe it is, then not even a field of bones can stop the steps of an eternal king. And if he is truly returning, then the question is not just when, but how are we preparing? Because the gate may be symbolic, but his return will be real, tangible, unmistakable. He will not come hidden. He will come in glory. As the book of Revelation says, "Behold, he comes with the clouds, and every eye will see him." And that moment will not be negotiable. It will not be postponed. It will not be avoided. It will be the day of the Lord. Many look at the world today and see chaos, conflicts between nations, families divided, faiths distorted, truth itself relativized. And amid this noise, God continues to work in silence, moving pieces, awakening sentinels, opening doors in forgotten places. The Golden Gate may be just an ancient structure to those who do not believe, but for those who watch, it is a prophetic clock, and its hands have just moved. This is why it is not only Jerusalem that must pay attention, it is the world. Because his return will not be just for Israel, it will be to reign over all the earth. The same Jesus who last entered in humility will enter again in power. He will come as a lion, no longer as a lamb, and no empire, religion, or system will be able to prevent his arrival. Curiously, Jews and Christians, despite their differences, await the same thing in this regard: the arrival of the Messiah. Both see the Golden Gate as the door of redemption. Both believe that when it opens, something definitive will happen. This rare point of spiritual convergence is what makes it all the more intriguing, because perhaps the gate itself is whispering to both peoples, prepare. And for those who still doubt, just look back. How many times have they tried to destroy this gate? How many times have empires with resources, soldiers and machines decreed its end? And yet, it remains, not just intact, but now, awakening. Jerusalem has always been the heart of conflicts, but it is also the heart of the promise. It was there that Abraham climbed with Isaac. It was there that David established his throne. It was there that the temple was built and destroyed. It was there that the veil was torn. And it will be there that the heavens will open once more. The Golden Gate is at the center of it all, a fixed point on the map of eternity. And while men build weapons and alliances, God builds signs. He does not shout. He does not compete with the media. He simply moves. And those who have ears hear. Those who have eyes see. The world may be distracted, but the vigilant are awake, because they know that when God begins to stir ancient gates, it is because he is about to enter. But what does this awakening mean for us? It means that the time for playing with faith is over, that the scriptures are not just stories, but maps, that prophecies are not poetry, but spiritual programming, and that ignoring the signs can be fatal, not because God is cruel, but because he warned, and now he is reminding. If the gate is indeed opening, even if only from within, then the countdown has begun, and it will not be paused. The only wise response is repentance, sanctification, consecration, because when he comes, he will come with judgment and with mercy. For those who wait, it will be glory. For those who mock, it will be dread. And you? Are you waiting? Are you watching? Are you preparing? Or are you distracted, as in the days of Noah, when everyone ate, drank, and married until the flood came? Because Jesus said his coming would be like this, sudden, like a thief in the night. And if the gate is already breathing, time is already slipping away. What began as a rumor among archaeologists has become a call to the attentive. The inner opening of the Golden Gate is not just any event. It is a summons, a silent trumpet, an echo from heaven saying, "Awake." God sealed that gate with purpose, and if now he is allowing something to move within, it is not by chance. It is prophecy in motion. We do not know the day or the hour, but we know the signs, and this is one of them. And as Jesus said, "When you see all these things happening, lift up your heads, for your redemption is near." The Golden Gate is still closed, but it is no longer silent. It is no longer asleep. Something breathes within it, something ancient, something eternal, and that changes everything, because a gate made of stone and time is beginning to move, and when it fully opens, the whole world will know that the one who entered once is returning.